What is up, my dudes? Today's episode, we have our week 4 preview matchup, starts, sits, sleepers, and more. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Underdog. Head over to Underdog Fantasy, guys. Enter promo code DUDES. They'll match you up to $1,000. They got a gimme pick this week. So you get this one, then you do one other pick. Boom, you win right there. Patrick Mahomes over 0.5 total yards. That's all you got to do. Hit the higher. Make another pick, win. You right there, you double your money. That's as easy as it is. Head over to Underdog Fantasy, promo code DUDES, match up to $1,000. I am joined on today's episode by my friends, acquaintances, dudes, Seth, Phill, and Jordan, guys. How are we doing, Phill? You hanging in there, buddy?
Yeah, you should say relatives. You're related to all of these guys except for me, like relatives and acquaintances.
I am not related to Trent.
You guys are like
not related to Trent.
Third cousins, twice removed.
No.
Speaking about relatives and people you're related to, stuff in the fridge is kind of fair game in my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless someone says like, hey, that's my food, do not eat it. Right.
Totally.
Is your house like that, Phill and Seth?
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I mean,
so
unless my house can't reach the fridge. My wife can't reach the top shelf, so I just put it up there.
Okay.
If it's dessert, then I think yes, it's off limits. Like if my wife has like a dessert that she has for her, I'm not going to go in and eat it, right?
Yeah. So, anyways, before we get into our week 4 preview, I just have a quick little update of what happened. My kitchen cabinets and kitchen got painted the last week. Took a lot longer than you would have thought. They had to sand down all the cabinets. They had to sand down the door. Then they did, about 4 coats of paint. Looks really good. We're happy with it. Okay. But last night, Tuesday night, this is Wednesday night, my wife said, hey, you're on your own for dinner. I'm like, fine, whatever. She's like, there's taco meat in the fridge. You can have that. So I have some taco meat. No big deal. Later and then after that, I said, I'm going to go outside and see what's in the garage fridge. There's a half a porta sub. I say, sweet, I'm going to have this too. So I had the half a porta sub. I had the taco meat. All of a sudden, my wife sees the wrapper. She goes, where'd you get the porta subs? I said, oh, it was in the fridge in the garage. She's all, when did you buy that? I said, I didn't. I figured it was yours. She said, no, I haven't bought porta subs. You really didn't buy porta subs? Are you messing with me? I'm like, no, I found it in the fridge. She's all, yeah, I think that was the painter's lunch. He's coming back tomorrow. So anyways, I ate the paint.
That did not. So what
happened.
did you text them and be like, or her or whoever?
My wife said, my wife is pregnant. We're having a baby in 3 weeks. She said, you need to tell the painter that you're sorry that you ate his lunch. And I said, no, you need to tell the painter that you're sorry because you didn't make me dinner. And I had to scrounge and go in survival mode and my survivor instincts kicked in. So this is your fault that I had to go look into my garage fridge and eat a half a sandwich that wasn't mine. How am I supposed to know that's not mine? So anyways,
hold on. Break this down a little bit
more. Though, that's kind of a diva move. Like you're like the guy working in your house, leaving his food in your fridge. Like this ain't free storage. Yeah. He should have paid you rent.
He's been there for a week. So like maybe he didn't.
No, you don't need to apologize. He needs to ask. That's when you just be like, bro, I ate your sandwich, but next time tell me you put your food in there and I won't eat it.
Yeah, no, he was
sure.
Yeah, he was cool with it. My wife just told him, hey, my husband saw your sandwich and ate it. So she made me look like and sound like a monster, which I don't think is exactly true, where it's like all she had to do was like, hey, I made you some chicken noodle soup or something and threat neutralized, right?
Well, also like you don't work from home like I do, but like you also would be like, usually you talk about each other's days. Like, oh, we went to porta subs for lunch. Like, oh, I took the girls out for porta subs for lunch. Like those things tend to come up in conversation. But the fact of the matter is, you know that she did not go to porta subs at all in the last couple of days for dinner. And you also have a good idea. She definitely didn't go to lunch because I know sometimes you call her during like when you're at lunch and she tells you what she's doing at lunch. So like the fact of the matter is, it could have been like a homeless person who left that porta subs in there. Like, why didn't you just shoot a text to her and be like, hey, whose porta subs is this?
Sometimes it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. Actually, it always is. But my wife did go to Save Mart on Sunday to get some stuff. And I figured after church, oh, maybe she just got this when she went, porta subs right there. She, maybe she just ate a half a sandwich.
Trent convinced himself that it was Nikki's. That's what he convinced himself. He's like,
to be fair to Trent,
Why else would you? There's no reason to think that someone else that doesn't live in your house's food would be in your fridge.
That's true.
Like,
That's a
No,
really
no,
good
but then
point.
it tends to ask the question. Then it lends itself to ask the question like, whose porter subs is this? Like, I would be if that happened to me, I would shoot my wife a text, and be like, "Did
well,
you get
maybe
porter
he
subs?"
thought like maybe
Why
his
would you
dad like had leftover porter subs and dropped it off at the house. Freak people have done that to me. They bring their leftovers and throw it in. So it's like I don't know. Maybe someone dropped off their leftovers.
I'm not saying Trent's at fault. I just think that there's other questions that probably should have been asked. Like he didn't even know. Like, was it a roast beef sub? Like, what type of porter subs was it?
It was turkey and cheese and lettuce. So
Okay,
the
well,
giveaway
that's
should have been
okay.
like my wife gets tomatoes on stuff, but I just was like, sweet. The other giveaway should have been like the plastic bag was not the type of Ziploc we normally use. Like just playing this back in my mind, like there was definitely some giveaways that
Hey,
I
he was
just
hungry,
like,
man. Hunger talks.
yeah.
Here's the thing: he could have easily gone to porter subs on his own. Like, hey, this sandwich looks good. I'm not sure whose it is, so I'm not going to eat it. I'm just going to go by myself.
Hey, Phill, I'd hate to see what you do when you're in a pinch. You know what I mean? My survival instincts kicked in. I haven't eaten a meal in like 2 hours.
I'll tell you, I used to always think like, oh man, if I was like single still, like I would be in such good shape. I'd be eating healthy. And then my
No, you
wife would
wouldn't.
well,
you
hear
could
me out.
barely walk.
Then my wife went on I think she had to go to like a wedding up in Washington. I had to work, so I was going to join like a couple days later. So like for the 2 days that I was solo, I think I probably finished like at least 2 pizzas all on my own and had like various sodas and other beverages during that time. Just so it's like I definitely would not be healthy. That's all I'll say. But I would have got my own food. I fended for myself. That's the story.
That's true. So that's my awkward story that Phill begged me before the pod to not share. So just know that Phil's intuition is not always that good. So I think that's a pretty good story. Thought that needed to be shared. But with all that being said, we got our week 4 preview, start, sits, sleepers. Jordan,
wait, hold on. Can I talk to you about a trade? I want to run this through. I had a trade that I did in one of my leagues that none of you guys are in. And I feel like I'm 0-2 in this league. Okay. I'm 0-2 in this league. 0-3. I'm 0-3. Sorry. I'm 0-3 in this league. I am just getting spanked left and right for running backs. Right. Okay. I'm getting terrible.
Take my word for it.
I have Tajay Spears and I have Bijan. Bijan's fine. Bijan is fine, obviously. I have Tajay Spears is basically not done well for me. I was offered for DK Metcalf, Mason. Okay. And so I accepted. I felt like that was a good 1-to-1 trade. Christian McCaffrey is not going to be coming back for a couple of weeks. I need some wins right now. Okay. I need some wins this minute because I really don't want to have the punishment that's part of this league. And so I'm going to try and just get like 3-4 wins. Although they're playing the Patriots. Patriots have a pretty decent defense. I think that I think this can help propel me in a good position for the next couple of weeks. And I'm looking for wins now. What are your thoughts on this trade? And I'm happy with my wide receiver room. I can read off my wide receivers.
I don't hate it, Phill, because I don't know when CMC's coming back. He's in Germany right now.
I think it's going to be a while.
Yeah,
I need like wins now.
Yeah, it's Ozempic shot or something for his Achilles. I can't remember what it was, but CMC's getting shots for his Achilles. So that's all I heard. And so I think this isn't terrible. And if your receivers are good, I don't know who they are, but I don't think this is terrible. Mason could be the guy the rest of the season there. Like,
so you'll
they
have
are not
Mason,
rushing CMC back.
I'll have Mason and Bijan.
And then who would your receivers be?
So I have Drake London, T. Higgins, Brock Bowers, Odunze, JSN. I also have on the bench, I have Michael Pittman and Josh Palmer.
Yeah, I don't hate
probably drop Palmer.
See, that's the thing. My wide receiver core is not bad.
Mm-hmm. If Pittman can pick it up, that would help.
Yeah, I think he was out last week. Anyhow, I don't
think it's bad, Phill. I don't think it's bad.
I think I need wins now, and I think I need another running back that's going to be serviceable.
Yeah,
and Jordan Mason's going to do that.
Okay.
All
Seth,
right,
how do you feel him trading DK Metcalf away?
I think it's fine. Honestly,
I still have JSN.
Jordan Mason's going to get you consistent points. DK Metcalf's, I think, going to be on and off.
He's hit and miss every season. He's hit and miss, Seth, right?
And if you think JSN's going to take over, which, preview into our game previews, Might
Here's
hear
the
about
thing.
him.
JSN, not a great week last week, but against the Patriots, 23 points. Not a great week in Denver, but I do think he's going to pick it up. All right, let's get into this week. Let us get into this
Yeah.
week.
Jordan, do you have the totals?
Yeah, I do. Kind of a weird week, like they've kind of all been. But so yeah, I went. Phill was last 6-10. I went 7-9. Seth 8-8. Trent, you were the winner at 9-7. So
That's kind of where I'm hovering right now.
yeah, you're like 7-9, 9-7, 9-7. So Trent, you have 1.5 wins. Seth, you have one win. Phill, you have half a win, and I have 0 wins. So I guess it's gonna be comeback season for me.
Sucks at the
Yeah.
bottom.
Okay. Today's week 4 preview is brought to you by our friends over at Trophy Smack. Head over to Trophy Smack, get yourself that new fantasy football trophy, participation ribbons, helmets, busts of Patrick Mahomes, pictures, anything creative. They'll do it for you. They'll completely customize it for you. Go over to trophysmack.com/dudes for 15% off your whole entire order. Phill, let's go ahead and get into this preview here. We are doing these games. We're going to go with our starts first, then we're going to go to our sleepers, then we're going to go with our sits, then we'll go to all the rest of the games from highest point total to lowest for those of you for the first time tuning in.
We are here. So we have the 0-3 Bengals versus the 1-2 Panthers. Cincinnati still favored by 4.5 on the road. Current total right now is 48.5. We have 2 starts in this game. Seth, you have a start, and Jordan, you have a start. Let's go. I'm going to go ahead and go with Seth since he is talking about a guy on the team that is favored. Go ahead, Seth.
My start of the week is Zach Moss. So Zach Moss had a decent week 1, 13.1 half PPR and 5.2 the next week. And then against Washington last week, he had 18.2. He had 58 yards rushing, touchdown, 5 catches, 39 yards. One thing that's cool about this week is the Panthers give up a ton of rushing yards and points of fantasy running backs. So through 3 weeks, they averaged 27 attempts against and 124 yards rushing allowed. And that's like 4.62 yards per attempt. And they're also allowing over 1 touchdown per game on the ground. And they allow 4 catches and 30 receiving yards per game to running back. So I think this is a prime week for Zach Moss. If we think the Bengals are going to win, they should get their first win against the Panthers here, even though, yes, they are 0-3, they should win. And we think that the Bengals get up early. Zach Moss should get plenty of work on the ground. I know he does split some time with Chase Brown, but he still played 76% snaps. So he should be playing most this game. Probably should get right around that 4 catch mark, right around 30 yards. And I can definitely easily see him getting over his season high of 58 this week and also scoring a touchdown. So my start of the week, Zach Moss, I think he could be a top 5 RB this week.
All righty. Jordan, let's hear. And you know what, Seth? I have a little bit more of like a raspier, deeper voice compared to Trent and Jordan. They're more of like, I'm more like a baritone. Those guys are like tenor. So maybe you have something audio that's like, I don't know, maybe you have like some soundproofing that you have on your.
Yeah, I hear the blinker again too. I don't know if you're tapping, Seth, but I'm almost positive you're the blinker guy.
I think he is.
Go, Jordan.
All right, Jordan, you have a start in this game.
Yeah, so I actually have the running back on the other side as a start. Chuba Hubbard. The Bengals really haven't been very good against the run this year. Week 1, they had Ramondre had a huge game. Week 2, Pacheco had about 90 yards. Didn't get in the box, but had a good solid day rushing yards wise. Week 3, so this past Monday they gave up not a ton of yards, but they gave up 2 touchdowns on the ground to running backs. They gave up a third on the ground to Jaden Daniels. Yeah, so they've been pretty bad against running backs. Chuba kind of came to life this past week with Andy Dalton back as his quarterback. He saw 5 targets the last 2 games, and then he had 21 carries for 114 yards this past week, 5 catches, 55 yards. So 26 touches for Chuba Hubbard. and the Panthers threw the ball a ton. I know they were up pretty big in the second half, so some of that probably came into play as far as a lot of carries. But also, Andy Dalton showed that he can kind of involve him in the pass game. I think Andy Dalton's ability to extend drives allows him to just be more involved, And I think the problem with when Bryce Young was there, drives were getting extended. They weren't converting third downs. And so there just wasn't a lot of work for him. So I like Chuba Hubbard this week. I like him as a start. I saw him being ranked in like the mid 20s at some places. So I think he could be I think he's a top 20 running back this week. And then in the rest of that game, man, I just kind of like the Panthers as a whole. Like, I like Jamar Chase a lot on the other side. I agree with Seth about Zach Moss. I was going to have Zach Moss as my start, and then I looked and Seth already had him there. But then I like Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton's like, you're not playing him in season long, but like, if you're in a super flex, I think he's fine. And then, or a 2 quarterback. And then I like Deontay Johnson a lot this week too. No Adam Thielen. There's kind of unproven guys behind him, like Xavier Legette. I think there's one more guy that Mingo, right?
Mingo.
They obviously don't believe in him a ton because they drafted Legette and traded for Deontay Johnson. And so, I mean, I think Deontay Johnson's in for like a really big week. So I like this game a lot, like considering who's in it. And I just think Andy Dalton kind of has revitalized that team.
Yeah, what I'll say is Deontay Johnson had his career game last week, and he had almost had 2 more touchdowns. He had a 38% target share too, and without Adam Thielen, can that really go up higher? I don't really know. This is an Andy Dalton revenge game, Jordan. You didn't mention that. Like you said, you were kind of worried to play him. You're probably not playing him season long.
No, I didn't say I was worried to play him, Trent. I didn't.
We just said you probably
are worried to play him. Well, you probably aren't in a 12-team league with one quarterback, right? But like as a whole, I like Andy Dalton this week. I just don't know what formats you're really playing him in, if that makes sense. But I do like Andy Dalton. Like I kind of like his over on his passing prop. Like I think he's good enough to get these guys, like to get this offense moving and scoring. This Bengals defense isn't that good. Like we just saw what the Commanders did against them. So I don't know. I like the offense as a whole. So yeah, I do like Andy Dalton this week.
They did decent against the pass, but it's kind of weird. The Bengals defense against the pass, they played the Patriots, and Jacoby Brissett didn't light the world on fire. They did beat the Bengals, and then they played Patrick Mahomes pretty tough, that secondary. So I don't really, but Patrick Mahomes is kind of not playing like his normal self, kind of what we were expecting him to play either. He even admitted that, there's some room to improve for the Chiefs offense, passing and stuff like that. So with that being said, I feel like they haven't been completely tested through the air like they normally would have been.
Yeah, but I mean, Jaden
Daniels went off on him, so yeah. But yeah, on my chart, they're the 27th worst matchup for wide receivers. I am not looking. I have not.
The problem is that that data is accounting for like 1 week of just no receivers on a team. So like, like the Patriots, you almost throw that game out the window. The Chiefs, they played them tough, but then it says a lot when Jaden Daniels can go in and light you up. Like that tells me a lot. On the road, they did it to them at their own place.
That was.
This is at Carolina.
It is in Carolina, Charlotte. I'm going Bengals.
I have Bengals as well.
I don't see Burrow going 0-4. Who day?
Who day? All right, there we go. All right, moving on to game 2. I feel like people listening, they're like, just get on to the next game here, folks. And we are doing just that. Eagles at Bucks. Current total right now is 44.5. Philadelphia is currently favored by 2.5. That's just disgraceful for how well the Bucks have been playing. Trent, you have a start in this game. Let me hear it, big buddy guy.
All right. So, the Bucks have been playing good, Phil, but they did lose last week to the Broncos.
They did.
Which the Broncos defense don't sleep on those guys. I have Mike Evans as a bounce back start of the week. He's played 2 bad weeks in a row. I saw him ranked lower than what I thought he should be ranked. I don't think you should be worried to play Mike Evans. You're plugging him in. You're playing him. He's not going to have 3 bad games in a row. What do I have here? So here's some receivers that the Eagles have given up big games to. Jaden Reed, Green Bay, Drake London, Falcons, Chris Olave last week. Outside of Chris Olave, the Eagles are actually pretty tough on wide receivers, but I think Mike Evans has a big game here this week. I think Baker bounces back, and I think all the Bucks bounce back. I'm thinking top 12 performance out of Mike Evans this week, so that's why I have him as my start of the week here versus the Eagles, who the last couple seasons, their secondary has not been very good. Outside of last week they did good against the Saints last week in the secondary. I think Shaheed dropped a couple balls, had some end zone targets, but Chris Olave got there fantasy wise. But Mike Evans, I know you're starting him no matter what, but I think he's a big time performer this week, top 12 finish. So that's why I got Mike Evans there. And also in this game, I think this is a huge Dallas Goedert game just because of injuries. And if you want to just have a complete dart throw, I think you can dart throw Jahan Dotson in there because no AJ Brown, no Devonta Smith, and it's a huge dart throw. He's still pretty new to the team. What do you think of Jahan Dotson, Jordan? Like just too soon, or you don't want to play any receivers?
No, I mean, I think if Smith is out, I think it's fine. If Smith and Brown are out, I think it's okay. They obviously haven't really got him involved. Like even when Brown was out and Smith was playing, Britton Covey was kind of the wide receiver too there. Britton Covey's out too. So they are down big time at receivers. So there's a world where it could just be him, Johnny Wilson, the rookie, Dallas Goedert as like the three pass catchers there. I think Saquon's going to be involved in the pass game quite a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. They might be really depleted on injury wise.
Yeah. Jahan Dotson played.
Yeah.
Or no. I just say
Go
Dotson
ahead.
played 86% of the snaps last week. Paris
Just don't throw
Campbell
the ball
played
to him.
40. Yeah. Paris Campbell played 49% of the snaps. Johnny Wilson played 31% of the snaps. So like he is the guy that's leading the snaps, but for sure Dallas Goedert game. And the Bucks defense is absolutely nothing right now. Like I don't know if Vita Vea is playing. Secondary was bad last week.
Vita Vea is playing.
You think he is? Okay.
He practiced today, I think. Also,
Okay.
like I don't like. I get what they're saying about Bucky Irving. I don't know if I would jump on that like now. Like I don't know. There was still a 70-30 like snap percentage gap between the two, and I think eventually Bucky Irving might be the guy, but also like
He was efficient.
it's hard to say. Oh, you think it's just gonna flip like 1 week? I don't necessarily see that.
Yeah.
Vea was, just for what it's worth, Vea was limited at practice today, but he was practicing.
Okay. This game is at Tampa. Eagles just came off of a big win. I am going to go with Bucks winning this game at home. Seth, what do you think? I know you're a big Hurts guy.
I'm going to go. I think the Eagles are still going to pull it out, Trent.
Okay.
I'm going Bucks.
I got Bucks.
All right, Seth, this is your breakaway game.
Yeah. Fire the cannons, boys.
All righty, moving on here. This is the Monday Night Football. Maybe Trent didn't. Is it Seahawks Lions Monday Night Football?
Yeah.
There's two.
Sure.
Oh, doubleheader. Doubleheader.
again.
All right, we got another doubleheader here. Seahawks versus Lions in Detroit. Current total right now is 47.5. Detroit is favored by 4.5. This is a heartbreaking game for me. Listener of the pod, Steve, this is the only time that I'll be betting against you all year. And this is just a heartbreaking one for me. Both of my favorite teams playing. Seth, you have a sleeper in this game. You want to talk about JSN?
Now, let me just say this, okay?
Go
The
ahead.
Lions are wearing their new jerseys, the black helmets
ones.
that Phill
Yeah.
said, I'm a Lions fan now.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I've been saying that. I have been
Yeah,
saying
you've
that.
saying-
Yeah.
You were saying like is your favorite team though. So this is the battle of Phil's favorite teams. That's what I have in my
Correct.
notes right here.
Yep.
So yeah, but anyways, so it's funny how Seahawks are undefeated. And now Phill acts like he never even said that. So
They're
I was
undefeated
held
against. They're undefeated. Seth, hear me out on this. They're undefeated against 3 very mid teams. Like I think we're still lucky if we win 9 games.
Your defense is lights out.
Against the Patriots, who have
sorry,
no wide
They
receivers.
haven't played much.
They've played the Broncos and the Patriots, and it's just I don't know.
Okay, the Seahawks are 3-0. Okay, they beat the Lions last year. Okay, in that crazy game, which was really fun to watch. But one thing that's interesting that I have brought up, at least, oh shoot, where'd it go? Hang with me here. Anyways, my sleeper this week is JSN. I believe he is ranked. I have it written down here. Shoot, wow. Where is that?
Dog, eat your
Okay.
homework.
Yeah, I can't find it. Okay.
We do this show every week, boys.
Yes, we do. He is ranked wide receiver 43 on the year. This week he's ranked 35. I think he easily breaks into that. One thing that I found, which is pretty interesting, is the Lions are terrible against slot wide receivers in points per game, fantasy points per game. So Jason plays basically 84% of the time he plays in the slot, or when he scores points, it's 84% of the time he's in the slot. The Lions give up the most, and I think it's like something like 20 something fantasy points per game out of the slot, and Jason plays out of there. So I think this can be like one of those huge games he has. I don't know necessarily about that week 2 where he had 12 catches for 117, but I think we could see. I think the Lions also give up by the second most touchdowns to slot receivers. So I think we could see a JSN first of the year touchdown, and I would say easily over like 50 yards. And I think he's going to score over probably 12 points or higher. And I think that's something that you would like out of your sleeper. So Phill, who has JSN on his team, when he was talking about that trade earlier, I think Phill, you start him in your flex and you feel happy about it.
Preach.
JSN has one of the like weirdest fantasy, like just stats off the season. Cause I was looking at him today and he had 2 targets in week 1. He had 3 targets in week 2, but for some reason, when they played the Patriots, he had 16 targets, 12 catches, 117 yards. I don't know what happened in that, but yeah, Lions are like the toughest defense against the run. They're 4th worst against the pass. He's 24th. Jason's 24th in targets on the season, but all of those are in one game basically. So it's pretty wild. I don't hate the play here, Seth, though, because you just look at guys that have gone off against the Lions. Like there's been some, they're deceptible through the air, whereas Chris Godwin put up big numbers against them.
Yeah,
And,
I will say one thing that's you have to think about too, though, is when they're counting slot points per game given up, that's also referring to any person playing in the slot, which could be a tight end too. So I'm hoping Jason eats up most of those. I think it's 23 points per game to the slot. I think that's half PPR. So, I mean, the tight end could eat into that some of those numbers if the average tends to be true. But like I said, Jason can easily have 12 plus points this week, potentially his first touchdown.
Jordan, what do you have on?
Jason played 86% of his snaps in the slot. So, like, the
Yeah.
next person was like Noah Fant, who played 50% of his in the slot. So I mean, when he's in the game, he's playing, and I think he's playing pretty much the whole entire game. He's at
80% snaps or higher.
Yeah, so he's an 80% snap guy, an 88% snap guy last week. 85% of those snaps are in the slot. So I mean, he's going to be in the slot the whole entire game. Trent, what do you ask me?
No, just what any other notes you had on this game?
Let's see here. We are it's the Monday night game. No, just your usual lines. You know, I think you can play the 5. Jameson's role kind of decreased last week. So I don't know. I don't think he maybe had 1 catch. I think he 1 catch, 1 carry. I think St. Brown's role is kind of solidified. Laporta, I think, and Jameson Williams, I think it's going to be tough for 2 of them to have a good game at once. I think Gibbs and Montgomery are still really solid plays every week. And then on the other side, yeah, I agree with stuff about Jason. So
Okay. In this game, I'm going to say, man, winner this game. I'm going to go Lions win this one at home.
I have Detroit.
The Electric City.
Hawks.
Can't
Seth,
go
what do
against
you
the
got?
Hawks, baby.
All right, undefeated. All right, Phil, what do you got next?
All right, moving on here. We have the Rams versus the Bears. We got an animal matchup here. Current total right now is 40.5. Chicago is currently favored by 2.5. The Jordan, you have a sleeper in this game. The Bears are currently favored by 2.5 at home. What are we thinking here? Do you want to touch on that a little bit before we get into your sleeper? Do you want to jump your sleeper first?
No, I'll jump
me
into
just-
my sleeper. Go ahead, Trent.
No, I just have to, Phil, that's a great stat you have there, but we've had 2 other animal matchups prior. Just so
We
you know,
absolutely have.
yeah.
This one
So
just stood out
thank
to me
you.
a little bit more where the dominant animal was favored, and it made
Okay.
sense. Does that
Okay,
make sense? You
perfect.
following me
Yeah,
there?
no, yeah, it makes sense.
It was
Jordan,
also
that's right.
favored in the previous game where the dominant
Yeah.
animal was favored,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I don't want to get your whole animal food chain. Like I don't. Anyways, Jordan,
you
you're up.
shouldn't have started. Go ahead, Jordan.
I have Roma Dunze as my sleeper this week. The Rams they're just not good against the pass. They give up the second most fantasy points to wide receivers, the most 5th most passing yards to wide receivers or receiving yards, and the 2nd most touchdowns to wide receivers. According to PFF, they're the 5th worst. They have the 5th worst coverage grade on PFF. Adunze saw 11 targets the last game. And he kind of fits that mold of wide receivers who have beat the Rams. Jameson Williams, week 1, kind of had a really big game against the Rams. Week 2, Marvin Harrison did Marvin Harrison played the Rams week 2, right? Am I
Yes.
recalling that correctly?
Yeah, that
Had a
was his
huge
blow-up
game.
game.
Last week, Juwan Jennings had a huge game. So, like, we're looking at kind of those receivers. I mean, every single week, they're giving up huge games to wide receivers. And I think Roma Dunze can be that guy. It does hurt him a little bit if Keenan Allen plays. Don't know if Keenan Allen plays this week, though. So, really like a Dunze for about a big game. He had a big game last week. I think this is it's 2 weeks in a row with the Dunze big game.
I think Caleb Williams has a big game here too, Jordan. Like he had a good game last week, like fantasy wise. Like I think Caleb Williams has a good game right here. I think this is the get right game for him. My only question in this game is you said they're susceptible through the pass. The Bears have just got to throw the run game away, right? Like at what point is it just like,
They
why are we
should.
giving DeAndre Swift the ball? Like it's horrible. I have him in a couple of leagues. It's terrible. The value of where you draft him seemed good, but it's nowhere near good. It's absolutely horrible. Like you're starting him because you really don't have anyone else, but he doesn't look good. Caleb Williams, I think, has 2 less rushing yards than DeAndre Swift right now. So it's like, I think DeAndre Swift has 69 rushing yards and Caleb Williams has 67. I'm doing this off memory. I don't know if that's exactly right. DJ Moore did get more involved last week. If Keenan Allen comes back, this just gets really crowded. You can play Cole Kmet. Look what Trey McBride did to the Rams a couple weeks ago.
Trent, I do think that if Keenan Allen comes back, I think that hurts Kmet the most out of anybody.
It hurts Kmet the most for sure because they played a lot of 12 personnel last week with 2 tight ends using 1 to block, 1 was running routes. So they might change it up. So yeah, if Keenan Allen plays, it does hurt Cole Kmet. I agree. But tight end, I think Kittle would have had a big game with the 49ers last week. Trey McBride had a big game against the Rams. I guess when the Rams played the Lions, Laporta didn't do anything, but they are kind of susceptible against the tight end position.
And then
is there any
on the Rams side, I think he's such a good player. Like you saw he did last week. Like Kyron's just really good, man. He's really good.
And Tutu seems to be maybe seemed like the guy
Rams
there. Like,
Rams
It's
wide
going to be on
receivers
and off
aren't-
who it is.
Yeah, it's an absolute
Yeah.
disaster.
Like we could pick one of those receivers to be our sleeper every single week.
Yeah.
And you might be right. Just get a dartboard, throw a dart at it, and maybe that's who the sleeper is. Speaking of Sleepers, Sleeper's my favorite place to play fantasy football. Guys, head over to Sleeper, enter promo code DUDES100. They'll match you up to $100. Dynamic payouts, survivor leagues, pick'ems with your friends. Lots of good stuff over on Sleeper, guys. Head over there, take your whole league over there. Start bugging your commissioner to take the league over there right now. I'm going to say Bears win this one at home. Anyone going Rams?
I got Bears.
I'm going Rams.
I'm gonna go Bears.
All right,
Right, there
this
you
is
go,
my
Phil.
breakaway game here. All
Hey.
right, moving on here. Not two animals playing in this one. We have the Jags at the Texans.
Wow.
Current total is 45.5. Houston is favored by 7. I loved that little cat noise you made there, Seth. Jordan.
No, it's me. It's me.
Jordan. No,
It's
no.
Trent.
We're talking about the Jags here.
Okay.
I know.
Jaguars
I know.
suck.
Yeah, I know you have a player here, Trent. I'm talking to Jordan. Do we need to like light some candles for you? Maybe say a prayer? Like what do you
do?
Yeah,
Prayer circle.
prayer circle? Maybe you'll go on a little, maybe you'll just do like
I will
you
say
know, you
this.
go on a
I will
fast.
say this. I will admit this. I contemplated being a Phill Reyes on Monday night. I really
And-
contemplated.
Hold on, let me guess who the team was. Chiefs.
No, that's not acceptable. There's only one team that'd be acceptable for me to change to.
Okay, hold on. Trent, guess.
The Commanders. It'd be the Commanders.
Okay, hold
Yeah.
on. Oh, okay. Why the
It's
Commanders?
the Commanders because my dad's a Commanders fan. So
Okay.
that was the very first team, that I did root for when I was a little kid,
No
was
one
the
would blame you.
And then
But I can't do
your
it.
brother likes the
but I
Broncos.
quickly, I emotionally said I was considering it, and then I came to my senses and said, no, I deserve this punishment. I chose this punishment. I deserve it, and I'm stuck with it.
Yeah. Glutton for punishment.
Yep.
So here's the deal. Sometimes you just have to change things up. Okay. I put this on X, didn't eat a ton of juice, and it understood. Normally I wear a Cowboys hat on this pod. My fantasy team, I got DeAndre Swift and Zamir White and Michael Pittman. I pretty much drafted the whole Duds team. I have to change things up. I am wearing a different hat on the pod. I'm
Okay.
using a different pin for the first time ever. I am changing things up. Maybe it makes Michael Pittman go off. I don't care if Zamir White goes off on my bench or DeAndre Swift. You can't drop your whole team, right? But I'm changing things up because I want to be better. Trevor Lawrence, it's time to do something drastic. Shave your head. That's the last thing you haven't done. Clean it up. Do something totally different. When you're a loser and you haven't figured it out, you got to do something different. Throw the pepper over your shoulder in the restaurant. Whatever it is you have to do, you have to change it. And I think he's got to take the buzz cut to his head. Like, I think if he does that, I think fans would just be like, this guy's really trying. He's really trying. Like, I'm a little superstitious. And you got to do something different. Like, he's been in this rut with the Jags for a while. A lot of people wanted to blame Urban Meyer for this. I don't know who we're blaming now. Like, is Doug Peterson gone by the bye week?
If they don't start winning games, Doug Peterson is not going to be there very long.
Yeah.
The owner was not happy. The owner's not happy. I know that.
Yeah.
He spent a ton of money on this team, and he's not getting any results.
They haven't brought back the Jag with the Speedo. I think that's the major problem.
Yeah. Bring back the Speedo. That could help. They got to do stuff totally different. I think the haircut is probably where it could go.
Finding a personality, probably. The guy has very
Look what happened to Britney Spears after she shaved her head. Maybe that's a bad example, but I do have a sleeper in this game. My sleeper is, and this threw me off here, honestly, looking at it, is Cam Akers, because I have him in his, his team mugshot, and he's wearing his Rams jersey. We just went over the Rams. I thought maybe I messed things up, but I didn't. So Jags are allowing a good amount of fantasy points to the running back position. They're up there. They're in that top 5 worst teams. Where's my notes here? So last week, the Bills had 2 running backs with double-digit points. Achane in week 1 went off versus the Jags. They were able to contain Jerome Ford, though. So they did stop Jerome Ford, but a lot of running backs have a lot of success versus the Jags. And that's why if Joe Mixon is out, which it's sounding like he's out, I think you can play Cam Akers and get, your double-digit points. Maybe you don't hit a home run, but I think Cam Akers is a solid play this week versus the Jags, a team that struggles versus, on the ground. So Cam Akers is my sleeper of the week. anything else we want to add here on this game? Like Christian Kirk, Seth sat him last week. I made a little bit of fun of him. I think he did find the red zone. So sorry about that, Seth, but that did happen. Trevor Lawrence just looks like the body language on the sideline looks rough too. And, what is it? Injury result? What is that? When you get hurt, what is that?
Injury prone?
Not injury prone, like insult to injury.
Oh,
Jags
yeah.
plane wouldn't take off after the game. They didn't get to leave till like 1:30 a.m. or something. Like just totally bad night altogether. Probably why the owner was mad too, because his plane's on the tarmac for who knows how long.
I don't think he rides in the plane with the players.
Yeah, he might have a couple planes. You're right. Texans don't lose 2 games in a row, I don't think. CJ Stroud. Yeah, so
but the Jags
CJ
are going to start 0-4. Oof.
What's more likely, CJ Stroud losing 2 games in a row or the Jags starting 0-4? That's what you have to ask yourself.
Jags
Jags
starting
starting
0-4.
0-4.
Yeah, Houston's the 7-point favorite right now. I'm going Texans, and I think if they get up big, I think it helps Cam Akers even more. So, yeah. Anyone on the if I think even play strange if Evan Ingram doesn't play again, Jordan. Is it just a
I
dart
agree.
throw tight end guy you need to play?
I think he's fine. Yeah.
Maybe you're playing Brian Thomas, you're playing Travis Etienne. I think that's where you draw the line, though, right?
I mean, they got Kirk involved pretty heavily last week when they're down, and I don't know. Kirk's kind of the veteran wide receiver of the group, so.
Jordan, are
I
you
don't
going to pick against them so that
Yeah,
they'll
Houston's
hear it?
winning this game.
Okay,
Houston's
all right.
winning the game.
He's doing things different. I'm glad you're listening to me, Jordan. That makes me so happy. So yeah,
You guys
got
all
to do
have
things
Houston?
different. Everybody's
Everyone
got
has
Houston.
Houston.
Everyone's got Houston.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Houston,
Seth.
there is no problem. All right, what are you saying, Trent?
No,
His
you're
turn.
good. You're good. Sorry.
All right, moving on here. We have the Chiefs at the Chargers. Current total right now is 39.5. KC favored by 8.5 in Los Angeles. Seth, you have a sit in this game. This one's very relevant and on par. Let's hear it.
Travis Kelce is basically has been MIA this whole entire season. He's not even in the tight end 1 talk. I mean, that's crazy to say he's not even in the conversation. He's basically done nothing, and I am sick of it. So I don't have him in any leagues. But also out of the plenty of times where I have used any of his props, they have completely flopped. So maybe if you want to start bending unders on this guy, it's the way to go. But if I do it, don't do it, because he'll probably turn his back on me this week and just absolutely explode. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Chiefs have other weapons now, and they are just deciding to use it that way. It's kind of like Travis Kelce's almost like a decoy, or he's just not getting open. He is getting up there in age. I'm curious to see. I mean, I don't even know what's left on his contract, or if this is just he's going to ride this one out, and then maybe what we were saying at the beginning of the season, just kind of, I don't know, maybe pull something out of a hat in playoff time, because we know the Chiefs are going to get there. So he's my sit. You can start a tight end that's a tight end 3, and he's going to get more points than Travis Kelce. So
here's what I have to say. I read this in the New York Post, which normally not a newspaper I read, just kind of came up against my feed. The guy is just going off on Travis Kelce, and he's saying, I don't know why no one's saying it. And I kind of agreed with it. The guy might just be out of shape. The guy was out going to concerts all off season, flying in jets. I don't know if he was working out like he normally does. I don't know if he had the off season he normally does. And I know you're a professional athlete. I know you take care of yourself, but I just think it was a little different off season. And maybe he just has a little bit of baby fat he needs to lose and needs to get in a little bit better shape, and he'll be there. I don't think he's washed yet. I don't blame you for not wanting to play him yet, but I think he's going to be relevant. I kind of agreed with it. Like maybe it's just a slow start. He didn't have the offseason he normally did. Like, what was it? He went to was it a golf tournament or something a couple weeks ago? Like, I think he's just living large right now. And I think he'll get there. I don't know what you think about that, Jordan.
I just think he's in cruise control right now. I just honestly don't. And I don't think the Chiefs care. Like, I still believe when it comes down to it, when we're talking in the playoffs, Travis Kelce's going to be involved, and he's going to. I just think he doesn't care right now. He's a vet. He knows they're going to win games. They're going to make the playoffs. Like now, like yeah, unless something crazy were to happen, like I just think he's okay, and I don't think. With the emergence of Rashee Rice, I know they're not getting Worthy the ball a ton. It's kind of frustrating, but they just don't need Travis Kelce. Noah Gray's there. Like, I literally think that he just doesn't care right now. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that, like, he's fine. Like, he's fine if he doesn't have the individual statistics. I think he just wants to win football games. They're winning football games. And I think when it comes down to it, when he's needed, he'll be there and they'll rely on him.
Jordan, are you going to this game? Like, it's in California. You're one of the
I didn't
biggest
even think
Mahomes
about
fans
that.
I know. Okay. And the other thing that worries me about this is the Chargers safety. That was that just bogus call. Like he got called for spearing too many times. It's not even that bad of a tackle.
The problem is that guy's like one of the it's constant. He got suspended for a game because constant violations of the rules. So he's a habitual
but it was
offender.
It wasn't even that bad of a hit.
Yeah.
It was like I don't even know if he completely took the guy down. Like it's just
he's like Draymond Green, Trent. They don't get any benefit of the doubt. You're past. Your past is
yeah,
they hold you
he's
against,
not like
against you.
I know. Let's not treat him like he's Rodney Harrison, though. For goodness sakes, like this is wasn't that bad of a deal. But
can I say something real quick?
Yeah,
Jordan, if you did want to go, I see nosebleed tickets, $167.
That's crazy.
114 in a pretty terrible section. 114 in a pretty terrible section. So it is doable, Jordan. You could go.
Yeah.
It is, but yeah, it's not happening.
The problem with SoFi is I think the parking's like $100 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no.
It's crazy there. I'm going Chiefs win this game. We don't know if Herbert's playing. Like if you have J.K. Dobbins, you're playing him. Chargers lost both offensive tackles last week.
It's a bad matchup for J.K. Dobbins again.
Yeah, but yeah, you have to play him though probably, and you have Jake. So like Alt hurt his knee. I don't know the severity. Their other tackle Slater got injured too versus the Steelers. I don't know this. I'm not sure what the severity is that is too. So the Chargers went from one of the better offensive lines to maybe being down 2 offensive linemen. So it's not like it's another bad matchup for J.K. Dobbins, but Dobbins is just the snap percentage and the amount he's getting the ball. Like you got to keep him in your lineup, and maybe no Justin Herbert. Like we might be getting Taylor Heineke. Yeah. So even the little, good news we had from, what's the guy's Quentin Johnson, you can't play him now either. So
yeah, not if Herbert's not playing.
Just a mess. I'm thinking about dropping Ladd McConkey in a league, just to get some roster space. Just not working out and not having Herbert. I'm going Chiefs win this game. There's too much unknown here on Wednesday night. And if you guys are listening to this, go head over to YouTube. Give us a like. Give us a sub. Really appreciate it. Remember, don't be rude. Share the dudes.
See if you can hear Seth's
blinker going off.
Blinker. I am going Chiefs.
It's definitely Chiefs.
Okay, Jordan, I got Chiefs too.
All right.
What do you got next, Phil?
Second to last game where we have some active players here. Broncos at Jets. Current total is 38.5, one of the lower scoring games in this slate. And Jets are currently favored by 7.5. Jordan, you have a sit this week.
Garrett Wilson is my sit this week. It's been a pretty tough start for Wilson this year. A lot of teams, I've listened to some people, a lot of teams are saying that, I think Aaron Rodgers even said this, that teams are starting to really bracket him. Wilson and Rodgers seems just pretty content to dump down to Breece Hall, throw to Allen Lazard. Conklin had a big week last week. And then surprisingly, Denver has one of the best passing defenses in the league. They have the 10th best coverage grade on PFF. They give up the second least fantasy points to wide receivers and the second least yards and to wide receivers, and have only given up 1 touchdown to wide receivers this year. So this should be a pretty tough matchup for Garrett Wilson. Pat Surtain, I think, said today that he's really looking forward to covering Garrett Wilson. Made some comment about that, how he's a really really good player, and he was looking forward to seeing how they were going to be able to stop him. So I think they're going to try to scheme against Garrett Wilson, shut down Garrett Wilson. I think some passes go to the other receivers, but I think this is kind of an ugly game in general. And I do want to stay away from Garrett Wilson if you can afford to.
Any like Broncos side, the running back
No.
committee is a mess.
No.
There's no one over there I want to play. Bo Nix put up some decent numbers last week, but it was the Bucks and it was mostly rushing. So Broncos side, I'm not really playing anyone. Maybe Javonte Williams. Seems like he's getting the most.
Javonte is like the only guy you can play. But, dude, that guy's rushing prop is like 29.5. It's like stupid low.
Yeah, and the Jets are tough. In a pinch, you can play Braylon Allen, I think. Especially with how tough the Jets are against receivers. Maybe it's more dump downs to Breece Hall, Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen did lead them in rushing yards last week. So, like, it's not fun, but it is someone you could just plug in there if you have to in a pinch. I think you can play Conklin at tight end. And I think you can play who else they have? Maybe Alan Lazard. They're tough against wide receivers, but Lazard scored a TD in every single game. So might be a little bit.
He did not score.
easier.
He did not score a TD in every single game. He went touchdown, no touchdown, touchdown.
So sorry. He went 2 in the first game, no touchdown. Sorry, he has 3 touchdowns on the season. So yeah,
because the one day, he didn't score a touchdown. That's when I had him in my lineup. So.
Yeah, because Alan Lazard, he had 2 versus the 49ers. He finished like wide receiver 4 in week 1. I'm gonna go with Jets winning this game.
I'll take Jets.
I got Jets.
All right, moving on here. We have our final game with any skin in the game. We have the Steelers at Colts. Current total right now is 39.5. Pittsburgh is currently favored by 1.5. Trent, you have a sit in this game. Steelers are what, 3-0 going into this game, 3-0, and are favored. So let's see what. Was Arthur Smith the key to unlocking the boringest football of all time, but the winningest football of all time in the Steelers, or what?
Yeah, they're always solid. Pittsburgh's always solid.
They are.
Justin Fields he's playing good. He's not playing great. Sorry, he's not playing great. He's not playing bad. He's not doing too much. He's letting the defense win the games for him. He hasn't had to do too much. I'm hoping eventually he has, maybe play a little bit, get going, because he can run. He can put up fantasy points if they need him to. They just don't need him to with how good that defense is. So it's kind of just doing his job, not turning the ball over.
And he's not Russell Wilson.
So honestly, with how good the defense is doing, they haven't had the quarterback have to do more yet. You know what I'm saying? But I think the more Fields gets involved, maybe the more he'll start and try to do. A lot of Bear fans have been crazy on X saying we shouldn't have got rid of Fields. We should have kept Fields. But it's just like, I think Fields is just in a way better situation than what Caleb Williams is in. The
Plus they're paying Caleb way less money than they would have had to pay Justin Fields.
Yeah. Well, Steelers, though, they've spent some draft capital on their offensive line, even though I think the guy they got this year is out for season. He got hurt last week. So, yeah, I had 2 running backs last week in the game, the Chargers and Steelers, 3 tackles gone. So that was a lot of fun. But I just think it's a better offensive line, better defense. He doesn't have to do everything, and he could if they needed him to. He just doesn't have to. But my sit here, I have Michael Pittman. This one hurts. I was high on him in the offseason and rankings. He is 27th in targets, 37th in air yards. He has 19 targets on the season, 11 catches for 88 yards. He is just not getting it done. He's getting decent amount of targets every game. It's not like terrible, but it's just not good targets. And if Anthony Richardson can just throw half his out of all the bad passes he's throwing, if he can cut those down to half, I think Michael Pittman can be good. I just don't know with the little amount of football he's played shoulder surgery if that's going to happen at this point, and maybe just more development. But Michael Pittman isn't the guy. Alec Pierce is like top 10 wide receiver on the season. Pittman, it's just I don't see it happening. I am fine with Pittman going off on my bench and just to see what happens. But I'm sitting Pittman. Steelers are a good defense. They are, so I don't. Maybe this could just be a weird game where it's like Jonathan Taylor gets like 20 carries and then the Steelers run the ball a bunch too. I know Najee was in a sling, but I'm not sure if he practiced today or not. If Najee doesn't play, I could see Cordero Patterson having like a big game for some reason.
So
that's
true.
just kind of the Arthur Smith way to do things. So anything else you want to touch on in this game? You can play Pickens. You can play Jonathan Taylor. Outside of that, I don't know. Like, I don't hate Freiermuth. I don't love him either, though. It's just an okay, whatever. I don't want to play that other wide receiver. Was it Calvin Austin?
Calvin Austin.
Yeah, I don't think I want to play him yet either. But
No, you just
yeah. Pickens maybe gets going one of these weeks. I don't know when. Maybe I was a week off. I'm going Steelers win this game. Anyone else want to?
Yeah, I went Steelers too.
I am going with the Steelers. All right, moving on here. Commanders versus Cardinals. Current total is 50. That is one of the higher totals this week. That might actually be our highest total of the week. Yep. Current total is 50. Washington is currently favored by 3.5. Jordan's second favorite team. Jordan, since I know you're a big fan right now and you're pondering whether you're going to cheer for them or not, let's hear a little bit. Do you have anything you want to say in this game? This one's kind of a quick one. We can move through the rest.
This is a fun game. Probably the best game of the week. My favorite game, the game I'm looking forward to watching. It's a really good spot for Marvin Harrison Jr. again. Kyler's in a good spot. McBride. I think Connor's fine here. Don't like it as much, but this Washington defense is really bad. Like, they're really, really bad. So I think we get Marvin Harrison, huge game, maybe 100 plus touchdown. And on the other side, I like Jaden Daniels quite a bit. Terry McLaurin, I think, is in a really good spot again. So this Arizona defense is beatable through the pass. And then Brian Robinson's in a really good spot just because Austin Eckler's out, and so he should get a lot more of the carries. Side note, bum for Austin Eckler owners like me who finally was getting his groove and then gets hurt. Shocker.
Great luck.
Huge Marvin Harrison game. Wide receivers that have gone off against Commanders, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin in week 1, Malik Neighbors in week 2, Jamar Chase in week 3. If Trey McBride doesn't play, I think we can play Michael Wilson and get a decent game out of him again also. James Conner, I think we're playing him. You're playing him just because you got him. But yeah, this will be a fun game with these two quarterbacks. I'm going to say Cardinals win this game at home. Anyone going Commanders?
I'm going Cardinals.
Phill?
Cardinals.
I'm going Commanders.
Cardinals.
All right.
Okay.
The Cardinal rule. Bills versus Ravens. 46.5. The Bills are currently favored by 2.5. Excuse me. Baltimore is currently favored by 2.5 at home. This is going to be a good one, right? Don't you think?
I think so. I saw a tweet today that I thought was good. It said, this is the lowest you will have, the best opportunity you will have the rest of the year to bet on Josh Allen getting MVP of the season. Because if he wins this game versus Baltimore, his numbers, the odds are going to go way up that he's going to get it. So if you think Josh Allen's going to get MVP, this is your last chance to bet on him. And it's not even like a good rate, but if you think this is the best rate you're going to get on him. So
he's 2-1.
So what do you think it'll go to?
2-1.
I didn't. Do you think it'll get worse than that though?
Yeah, I mean it'll get worse, probably like even money, but like you can't even bet him at 2-1, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't look at those odds or anything. I just saw that, but
now if you think that Baltimore wins this game, Lamar at 16-1 is not bad.
I would be shocked. Like Lamar would really have to. Well, I guess they start out 0-2, and then if they go on a big run, I guess it could go back to Lamar.
Mahomes is
there.
like 3-1.
Allen's playing really good ball right now, man. He's playing.
No,
really
I know
good.
he is.
James Cook has been a smash. Just absolute terror. He has more rushing touchdowns than he did last season, and he's getting them from farther out than he's getting more within the 5 than what he did last season. I have in my notes this could be a really big Kincaid game, maybe finally. Maybe
Well,
Dawson
yeah,
Knox even too, if you want to.
I like Shakir. You saw him
Yeah.
got really involved last week, and then the Ravens kind of got destroyed out of the slot last week by the Cowboys. So, and Shakir plays a lot of their games, most of his game in the slot. So, I think it was Turpin had a good game last week.
Yeah.
There was a few other games that a few other guys that I just here. Let me pull it up real quick. So out of the slot, it was like Turpin played 93% of his. Ferguson had a really good game, 65% in the slot. CD had 50% of his routes in the slot. So like it's the Ravens kind of give up a good amount of production from the slot. So I think Shakir could be in a good spot. Kincaid will be in the slot too, Trent, like you said. The Ravens side just kind of a mess, man.
Now
it's just
Bateman's in there too.
Bateman's involved. Zay didn't really get much. You got the Henry Justice Hill thing where it's probably game script dependent. Lamar's obviously Lamar, but it's tough on the Ravens side.
I'm looking at Buffalo Bills tight end snap percentages last week. Dawson Knox had 52% of the snaps, and Dalton Kincaid was on the field for 54% of the snaps. So both of those guys are almost playing, and it wouldn't surprise me if tight end's ugly, but if Dawson Knox catches a touchdown, falls in the end zone, something like that, and it's not fun. He caught one pass last week for 7 yards, but it's going to be all hands on deck to beat the Ravens. So he's on the field. Maybe it's more of blocking, and Kincaid. I think Kincaid is the guy. What I'm wondering is Keon Coleman did not start the game because of disciplinary reasons, and then he came out and caught a touchdown. Maybe Keon Coleman's going. Maybe he ends up being pretty good, starts having some good plays.
What was the disciplinary reasons? Do you know?
Have you heard about that, Jordan? What he did? They said they
I didn't
figured
hear
it
about
out.
that.
Yeah. They said something. They said they handled it. There's no problem. Did he miss 2 series or did he miss?
I don't know. I wasn't watching the game at that point yet.
Okay. Yeah. So he played like his snap percentage. I can pull it up right here. I have the Bills.
Was he like late for supper or what was like?
Yeah, it could be. I'm not sure. Okay.
We're probably spending too much time on it.
Yeah. If you guys want to pick your winners.
I'm going to take Buffalo.
I'm going Buffalo also.
Yeah, go ahead, Bills.
I have Baltimore.
Yeah, Keon Coleman played 32% of the snaps, but he did get his first touchdown. So he definitely was in the doghouse a little bit there. What do we have next, Phil?
All right.
Was I the only one who took Baltimore? Sorry.
You were
you're the only one.
All right. We have Cowboys at Giants. Current total right now is 45.5. Dallas is currently favored by 5.5. Trent, what are we doing here, man? What's going on with your boys?
Just doesn't look good. CeeDee Lamb, fumbles that ball early in the game on a big play, and then just never got in a groove till the fourth quarter. It's frustrating. Defense looks like I didn't hate the Zimmer hire when it happened. Now I kind of hate it. Parsons hasn't been a factor. DeMarcus Lawrence hasn't been a factor. Diggs hasn't been a factor. Defense just is sloppy, not making plays. Cowboys are a very good team to target for opposing running backs in fantasy football. And Daniel Jones looks like someone at the moment, just looking at matchups, is someone you can stream this week. But I will tell you, Daniel Jones has never beat the Cowboys, and Dak plays very well against the Giants and plays very well in the NFC East. So I'm hoping this is a get-right game. Just some notes on the game. Neighbors leads the NFL in air yards and targets. So, all the talk I said about rookie wide receivers going off on Marvin Harrison, Neighbors was the guy going in third round that we all should have been taking at this point. It's kind of what you said, Jordan. The target share is just there. He's killing it there. And
We just didn't know if Daniel Jones can get him the ball. And I think
yeah, and
I said this. Yeah, I think he's matchup proof and QB proof now. Like I think that's just the amount of volume he's getting is enough. And like even if he doesn't get there, like we think with the yards, his receptions are still going to be high. Targets will be high.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you play. I don't really want to recommend a Cowboys running back, but
I think it's CD Trent. You're playing CD. I like Neighbors a lot. I like those two a lot. CD, Neighbors, Ferguson, Singletary, I guess. But
you play Dak.
yeah, I don't really talk about just because quarterbacks are
Yeah.
quarterbacks, you know. Like, but
Yeah, Jones in a pinch. Who's the other? Wandell has done some decent numbers, but that's
Yeah, I
like
don't know.
deep, you know. So, yeah, I'm going to say Cowboys win this game. It is in New York. Yeah, I'm going Dallas wins
Cowboys.
this game.
Concrete jungle.
Cowboys.
I am going Cowboys as well.
There's
All
a little
right.
bit of was there a little bit of beef with Neighbors and Diggs on the offseason or something? I can't remember that. I thought I saw something like that, but no need bringing it up. Sorry. What do we got next, Phil?
No worries. All right, moving on here. We have Vikings at Packers. Current total right now is 43.5. Green Bay currently favored by 2.5. Coming off a win for the Vikings. What are we thinking here, boys?
Sam Darnold, if he can keep this up, and I don't know if if Dalton keeps it up, it'll be a fun comeback player of the year race. But they did change the terminology. So if a guy like, breaks his thumb hammering in a board and nails, they might give it to him over Sam Darnold or Andy Dalton now because of the rule changes. I really like the Vikings with what they're doing. I think you can play Naylor with how Darnold's spreading the ball around. If Addison plays, I think he's going to benefit really a lot from how well Darnold's playing. Vikings offensive line, they're opening up holes for Aaron Jones. This is an Aaron Jones revenge game. Packers side.
Also a really tough matchup, though. This Green
It is
Bay
a tough
defense is
matchup.
no joke.
They're
Both
good.
sides, both defenses are really good.
Oh yeah, this might be just on paper, not like fantasy wise. This might be the best game of the week, Jordan.
Yeah, I agree. And Jordan Love's playing, so I think
Okay,
that's
for sure
pretty
playing.
much confirmed. Well, there's props. There's props up for him, so I don't think they'd put props up for him if he wasn't playing. And I don't think they'd be favored by 2.5 if he wasn't playing. So,
Well, Malik Willis has played pretty good.
yeah, but he's not Jordan Love. He doesn't have the same
No,
ceiling.
yeah.
So, I think you're playing. I think Jaden Reed's playable now with Jordan Love back. I think that's kind of the only one, plus Jacobs. But I got Packers to win this game.
What do you think, Jordan? Just asking for a friend. Would you play? Let me see this here. I got to find the matchup. Would you play Baker Mayfield, who's taking on the Eagles, or Jordan Love, who's taking on the Vikings? I feel like Baker has a better matchup and he's played good enough. Although Jordan Love's first game, he looked really good.
That's tough. Probably Baker, just because you don't know what Jordan Love's going to look like coming off the injury. But and it's
That's
tougher
what I'm
matchup,
leaning.
so probably
The
Baker.
friend was me, so thanks.
Yeah,
I'm
figured that.
going to go with Vikings on the road.
I'm going
Darnold.
Vikings too.
Vikes.
Skull.
All right.
All right,
Phil,
moving on here. This is a big game. Saints at Falcons. So they were. Did you see? Was it Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter who said like this game is like such a defining factor because the owner of the team is being inducted into the Ring of Fame at the stadium that I'm pretty sure he built. So it'd be like me giving myself an award at my home for paying to make sure that it stays operational like that.
Yeah.
He and they gave out 2 free hot dogs. So he basically gave himself an award and they gave out 2 free hot dogs. And it is an integral part of the Falcons organization. I'm like, what? No one else thought that was weird. Am I the only one?
It's weird, but you're also the guy that like free hot dogs. Like he could, free hot dogs is cool.
That's
and
not
like
what
the
I'm
hot dogs
complaining
there,
about.
yeah, the hot dogs there are cheap too, though. Like that's the best snack bar in the nation when it comes to professional sports, Phil. So that alone should put him in the Ring of Honor.
I want to go. I don't know what's going on with these. I'm rooting for the Falcons like nobody's business. I want Kirk Cousins to be successful. But I don't know. What are we thinking here? Giordano, Saints, Falcons. What are you thinking, Senor?
Well, there's just a lot we don't know. Kamara didn't practice today, so who knows what happens with him. I think Olave's fine. You're playing your Bijan, your London, your Pitts, but I kind of feel like it's like Bijan, Drake, Kyle Pitts, Kamara plays Kamara, and then Chris Olave.
I like Mooney, Jordan. I like Darnell Mooney.
Just the Saints
Is
defense.
Shaheed gonna have a giant play?
Yeah,
He
I think
might.
I would prefer Shaheed over Mooney. I mean, if Kamara doesn't play, Jamal Williams is in a great spot. So there's that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mooney has played 94% week 1, 100% week 2, and 92% last week. His fantasy points aren't he's the 38th best wide receiver, so not as good as I thought, but he went 8 for 8 last week for 57 yards. He went 3 for 7 the week before for 88 yards and a touchdown. So he's getting involved. I don't hate Mooney.
Yeah, it just-
like
defense is good though.
yeah. They did get beat on the run last week by Saquon, but
Yeah, no,
do you think
Bijan's
Kyle
in a good
Pitts?
spot.
Yeah, you think Kyle Pitts has a game like Goddard? Does he finally have a big time game or no? I just
I mean,
don't.
maybe. I think
Just
Pitts
don't
just
see it.
kind of got to play him because tight end kind of sucks.
Mhm. I'm gonna say Saints win this game.
I'm gonna go Saints too.
I think they bounce back.
Willing Falcons.
This game will be close though. You got Kirk Cousins versus Derek Carr. Like both of those guys seem to have trouble putting teams away.
Yep.
Phill,
Alrighty. I am taking the Falcons. All right. Last 3 games here. Bottom 3, boys. Patriots versus Niners. The current total right now is 39.5. San Francisco is currently favored by 10. Man, people were celebrating when the Niners lost last week. Like there was I'm in the algorithm where there's a lot of Niner hate. I don't know why. I guess it's because I'm a Seahawks fan, but everyone was loving the Niners loss last week, right? I think everyone was.
Yeah, what are we doing with Brandon Ayuk? That was
play
such
him.
a smash spot. Like you play him, but that was such a smash spot, and he did nothing. It all went to Juwan Jennings. Do we know? Like, it seems like everyone on the 49ers is injured.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious if Kittle plays or not. I don't know if Kittle plays. Debo's not
He was
playing.
limited today.
Yeah, he probably will try to give it a go, but I could see him just kind of being a blocker in this game. These aren't the Kittle games anyway. Games when they're favored by 10 are not Kittle games.
yeah,
But they are Jordan
He's just-
Mason games.
they are Jordan Mason
Mason,
games. So that
Ayuk, Jennings, but I mean this New England run defense isn't like a joke. Like they're pretty solid.
play
know.
Ramondre.
I think Ramondre is your only Patriot you can trust.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going 49ers
And
win
even
this game.
Ramondre went for like 3 points last week.
Yeah,
no,
no,
3
I think
points would
even
have been
him,
3
like,
more
it's
points
hard
than
to
what he
trust.
got. Yeah,
So
It was a kick in the
Patriots
teeth,
are
man.
not-
we all have San Francisco.
we're all going
Yeah.
Frisco.
Someone was chirping me in a group chat that I'm just like total garbage. And it's like, well, I had 2 players go for 0.3 points. So,
Jordan
outside
Mason
of
should
that,
just have a smash this game.
smash, senor. What's his total? Anything? Do we see anything for Jordan Mason on Sleeper? I know you guys do
It's
a
like
separate show that I'm never
82
invited
and
on,
a
even though
half.
I win all the time on betting.
Or-
What was that?
Like the 80s, low 80s.
Yeah. Don't miss that either, guys. That'll be coming out Friday morning on YouTube only. Give us a sub at tffdudes. It's a fun show. It's been getting a lot of juice, honestly. So the guys do a good job. And if you don't like what they do, just fade them, but I think the brighter days are ahead. So tune into that, guys. It's a lot of fun. It's a good show. Next,
Brighter
Phil.
days ahead. All right. So what we have here is the Browns at the Raiders. And what some are calling, I'm not going to say it. The current total is 37.5. Cleveland is currently favored by 1.5 going into LV. What are we thinking here? I'm going to go with Seth. I want to hear what you have to say, even though I'm breaking up here. Anything you'd like to add here?
One thing that you have to monitor. I know their coach, Vegas's coach was saying that they're not sure if they want to keep what Minshew as the starting quarterback, or they want to play. What's the backup's name there?
KOC.
I
Yeah,
thought
or
they
they
did they
wanna-
not confirm they Minshew starter. I thought that's what I saw.
I don't know. Last I saw, they didn't confirm what it was. They weren't saying that they're going to rule out if they were going to start. Is it Stidham?
No,
No,
it's
it's
Aiden O'Connell.
it's
AOC.
Aiden
AOC.
O'Connell. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure what they're going to do there. Man, I just think this is going to be a really ugly game. Maybe Jerome Ford does good here. I know he really sucked it up for me last week in a
He's
good
on the injury
spot.
report though too.
Yeah, so yeah, he's on the injury report. Yeah, something interesting. I think this game's going to be really ugly. I think you have to start Devontae Adams. I think that's it. Like, I don't
think
really
Brock
like
Bowers.
anyone else.
Brock Bowers.
Brock
Amari
Bowers, yes,
Cooper.
that's
Amari
it.
Cooper
I don't like
revenge
anything
game.
else.
Yeah. Antonio Pierce said today Gardner Minshew is our QB.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
So that makes you feel at least good about Bowers. So I think Bowers has more consistent usage than Devontae, but I think Devontae obviously has the biggest upside. So
Raiders need to win if they want to keep Devontae Adams, because I think he's going to be a trade candidate if they can't keep
I
or
think he's gonna
start
get traded
winning.
either way.
Mhm.
Yeah. And saw a weird fact. Don't even know if it's true. It was on X. I've
Let's
already
hear
messed
it.
up once in this. That Deshaun Watson's week 4 stats are like always really good, even the past couple of years for whatever reason. So just put a pin in that put that in the what it's worth category in your brain, and you still probably aren't going to play him. But I'm gonna go with Raiders winning this game. I don't know. I also put on X, like, what are we doing with Zamir White? Like, can we play him? I had a bunch of Raider fans flee to his aid, like they aren't using him right. Last year's scheme suited him better. Now they're in this zone where it's just not as good. It's not his type of gameplay, and that's the problem. They really paraded this guy, but I don't feel like they gave him. He's getting the snap percentage. He's really not getting any of the goal line opportunities, and for that, I don't think I'm going to play him because it's been rough. And the Browns defense is actually good. So I don't think you have to play him for sure this week.
I have Cleveland winning.
I'm going to
yeah,
go
I'm going
Raiders.
Browns. Sorry,
Phil?
Raiders
I am
fans.
I'm going Raiders. Seth has a lot of Raiders friends. Seth, is your brother? No, your brother cheers for the Seahawks, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
he is not a Raiders fan.
Okay. You have some friends that you'd consider brothers from another mother who are Raiders fans.
Yes, they are Raiders fans though. So
All right. Well, moving on here. The second doubleheader of the week, Titans at Dolphins. Current total is 36.5. Titans are favored by 1.5. Yeah, this is we're all in a league with.
Aren't we glad that we get 2 games on Monday? Imagine if this is the only game.
It
on a
should
Monday night.
always be 2 games every Monday night. Always 2 games. Thursday night football. Said it for years.
No,
Why
that's
not,
Trent.
Phil?
Do it all. Do it all. Have 2
Thursday
every
night football is
Monday.
one of my favorite. I like
Yeah,
Thursday
have
better
Thursday
than Monday.
night. Have 2 every Monday. It's
No.
not that big.
You
of a
would
deal.
like Monday better if they had 2 games every Monday. You would absolutely.
Then why
like it
can't
better.
they
There'd
do it
always
every
be a good
week?
game.
Plus keep Thursday.
I don't know why you need to do Thursday games are never good.
Yeah,
The-
but it's
the
the
numbers
start of
of
the
football.
weekend, dude.
Trent,
It's the
why
start
do
of
you
the
care? It's one more night of football. Like,
yeah. Go
why do
eat
we
a
want to have
turkey
less nights
sub.
of football?
I just want to see good football. Like, why do we want games that are on Thursday nights where guys are hardly getting? Let's have a couple extra days of practice. I think
Football
2
is like
games.
pizza, Trent. There's really no bad football. Like it's
Yeah,
just
that's kind of how I am. Like, it's NFL, man. It's on the screen. It's great. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it. I think 2 games on Monday night would be absolutely awesome, though. Get rid of Thursday, 2 nights Monday night. You appeal to the East Coast fans, appeal to the West Coast fans. You could have an East Coast kickoff, West Coast kickoff. You get to watch both of them. Monday would be a little, separate party after Sundays. It'd be pretty awesome.
you know what, man? I'm praying for you.
Yeah. I ran a poll on X, got some juice. 55% of people agreed with me, so it was close. So
Yeah.
And most people said anything's better than the garbage we watch on Thursday night. So
Those are the bots. The bots that you have.
Don't act like the NFL cares about football, but then gives these guys 3 days to practice for an event. You know what I mean? So like, let's either let these guys tackle completely or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't tell me you care about safety, but these guys are going to play a game on Sunday, then again on Thursday. So
yeah, no, I don't disagree with that.
This game sucks. Can we not talk
It's
about
horrible.
it? Like,
It's a
All right,
horrible game.
I will take
Fun fact, Calvin Ridley is third in air yards in the NFL. So there's my fun fact for this game. I don't even know if Achane's playing. You might get your boy Snoop Phill playing quarterback, which a lot of Ravens fans say he's like the worst quarterback ever, but you think he can start in the NFL. A lot of Ravens fans say that. He averages 150 passing yards per game when he plays, but you think he could be a starter.
How many
in the NFL.
rushing yards? Probably another 150. 300 total, 300 total yards.
All right.
And 150.
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys don't think Ty Huntley is a good starting QB. He is, but whatever.
I have Miami winning this game.
Yeah. You can play Tyreek Hill. I don't think you can play Waddle.
Huntley
I'm going
to the moon.
Dolphins.
I'm going to go Titans win this one.
No one heard me, but I said Huntley to the moon. That means Dolphins.
Cool, man. All right. Well, guys,
Go ahead, Trent.
That does it. Thanks for tuning in. We got the show tomorrow on YouTube at tffdudes. Check that out. I will have my waivers coming to you, early waivers on Monday. And then if you want to sign up for the waivers, go directly to your inbox. You can go to www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com. We will see you next time. And as always, take
This has been another episode of the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Remember to rate, review, and follow. For more information, go to www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com. And remember, we are sorry for absolutely nothing.